right. Hey, good Monday evening, everybody. We will let folks filter on in and then get started on an update on this very messy system, Matt, that has set up across the Ohio Valley, led to numerous waves of heavy rain and storms this afternoon and evening across the southern half of Indiana. But we still have some severe storms out to the west that we are monitoring very closely.
Yes. Yeah. In terms of we're having fun.
Giving John, look, it's always fun to give John a hard time. It's our favorite thing to do here in the office. All right,
But do we have any folks filing in?
I see some folks filing in here on Facebook.
Okay.
And several on YouTube. It's slow on Facebook right now, so keep giving folks a moment to tune in. And be sure to, guys, tag a friend, share this, like it. Let's spread the word with storm activity as this pushes further off to the east as we work throughout the rest of this evening. It's only 6 o'clock. It feels like this has been going on now for several hours, but we still have numerous hours still left to go.
There it is. I was waiting for. I was having problems getting the comments to populate, but it looks like they're starting to come in as we speak.
Starting to come in, still slow rolling, I would say, on Facebook right now, but I do see some comments coming in from Facebook. Appreciate you all for tuning in. I know this is going out on the Clarity platform as well right now, which is the radar that we are looking at here. And big stories just off the bat, Matt. Number one, flooding. I think that is something that needs to continue to be monitored very, very carefully across southern Indiana. Few hours. If we zoom in here, we have numerous flood and flash flood warnings that have been issued from, say, Bloomington and point south towards Vincennes, towards Columbus, Seymour, and this little cluster of storms continuing to slowly sag south and lead to some very heavy rainfall rates. And then the secondary area that we are keeping a close eye on out in central portions of Missouri and west central portions of Illinois. This is our second wave. And so if we take a look here at what is going on out to the west, we've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and several tornado warnings from Springfield, Missouri, up just south of Quincy, Missouri, and kind of to the west of Springfield, Illinois. These storms will eventually file further to the south and to the east over the next few hours. Yep. I think the big question that we were wrestling with before we hopped onto the live stream, how well would these ultimately survive further south and east where all of this rain is ongoing right now across the southern half of Indiana?
Yeah, so real quick, because I already saw a question and I'm just going to assume we're going to get a lot more questions on it. Someone asked, do we think there will be a tornado watch in central Indiana? No, I don't think so. And Brett, actually, if you can, do you have the weather forecast on demand, or what we were looking at prior to the stream of the tornado? Can you pull that up for folks? Because I think it does a good job of illustrating where I think there's at least a threat for tornadoes being possible.
Let me
through about 9 p.m. ish.
We should have a new piece of data too that has come in with this. So let me pull up the latest real quickly.
Okay.
Why don't you, real quick, while I do that, take them through what's going on out in Western Illinois and Eastern Missouri? Because I think the other thing with this, outside of just tornadoes, is large hail, Matt.
Yeah, and so further off to the west, obviously southern Indiana, flash flooding is the primary deal ongoing right now. But off to the west, you can see really from about Peoria Illinois, stretching southwest through Springfield, Missouri. That's where we have a front is located, and storms are certainly starting to sprawl up along that. And you can see really tons of severe warnings all up and down. And we do have a few tornado warnings along the Missouri-Illinois border north of St. Louis as well. Where we have at least still some decent instability is off to the west in that area in particular. And then I would say especially where the gradient of the instability, so a more favorable environment stretching through Springfield, St. Louis, perhaps just flirting with the Evansville area as well. As Brett brings this up, and you'll see what I'm talking about, as far is that the tornado, Brett?
Yeah, so this is the next 2 hours or so. This takes a look at where the highest tornado probability is based off of this experimental Warn-On forecast system. And in our experience and over the last 2 or 3 severe weather events, this has done a very, very good job of depicting where these highest tornado risk would set up. So this is over the next 2 hours. If we go back to our current radar, you can see activity is setting up in the western portion of the colored areas. The colored areas are what we're looking for. And so this would basically indicate that over the next 2 hours, our highest risk for storms that can produce a tornado would be, let's say, Peoria and points down to the south and to the west, kind of between Peoria and St. Louis over the next 2 hours. And then as this pushes further out to the south and to the east, you can see that the highlighted area tends to shift a little bit further south, but note how it struggles to get back into central Indiana. This takes us all the way out through about 10 to 11 p.m., not really seeing any kind of coloring in here indicating probabilities for tornadic activity, perhaps a little bit in southwest Indiana. Now, there is the tornado watch down there, but perhaps the bullseye with this setup kind of setting up here in south central portions of Illinois based off of these indications. And from what I see on radar, going back over here, and where I see the corridor of these storms setting up right now, I really don't have a reason to disagree with that idea.
Brett, real quick, a couple things. Never mind, you just got rid of it. I was going to say the sign-up banner was right over my face. Thank you, Blake.
We didn't want to see you.
I figured that was the case. You guys just didn't want to see my face. But what Brett just mentioned on those particular models, as far as where the best tornado threat is, kind of into St. Louis, Effingham, Illinois, Springfield, that kind of general vicinity. To me, that makes the most sense, just kind of where the instability gradient is set up, where the ingredients are. I do think with time, and we're already kind of seeing it on the radar, right? It's starting to organize a little bit, starting to try to turn into a line more or less that I do think can sweep from west, south, west, northwest to east, southeast with time. And so that round two, I discussed it in my live earlier, and Michael and I, we kind of went back and forth on, well, can there be another line of storms? I would not be shocked, Brett, if there is another line of storms that survives into Indiana. Right now, I think there can, just based off what I see on the radar. But I don't think tornadoes, in my opinion, Brett. Some wind gusts, maybe some hail associated with it. But as far as the tornadic threat, I think that's especially going to be confined. One, the storm's out ahead in Missouri, but especially kind of a focal point where we already see the tornado warnings. Again, let's call it from St. Louis, Peoria, towards Effingham, kind of that general central Illinois vicinity, lower in risk, especially with some of these storms that continue to flare up. Southeastern Illinois, southwestern Indiana, perhaps you can't rule out an isolated tornado there as well. But certainly into Indiana, and I would say is eastern central Illinois, where some flooding risk can continue as well. And Brett, just the way it looks there north of St. Louis, probably some flooding concerns there as well. That may end up being the main story, the big story with this, as far as that's concerned. I know there was, and for anyone who may be watching into southern Illinois, far southern Illinois, western Kentucky, there was concern that we could see some storms spark up, but they just haven't happened yet, Brett. The storms sparking up in that area, and we're concerned because the ingredients in those spots were certainly robust, but things have just really struggled to materialize there. And I think what you showed, that the modeling illustrates kind of the the lack of storm coverage. I know there was a tornado watch there, even a PDS tornado watch, and there's just not much happening there, Brett.
Yeah. So what I was kind of drawing out here, Matt, just from a glance at radar, this orange area is where I'm most concerned about severe weather right now as this stuff fills in kind of from west to east. I do see rain and storms if you turn on the radar here, filling in, trying to fill back in from the southwest to central Indiana. So some additional heavy rain, maybe some flooding potential, as you alluded to. Even into central Indiana, I don't think you can completely rule out. But I kind of suspect that into east central Illinois and into central Indiana, this just becomes a bit of a mess as it pushes further off to the east. Definitely interested in the gap from St. Louis to Springfield towards Effingham, where there's some drier air in here or some a little bit of a more unstable environment that can lead to this severe weather pushing further off to the east, just like what this warn-on forecast system would indicate, right? The bullseye in here just between St. Louis and Effingham, Illinois.
Yep. I agree. Brett, and I think John was saying he's getting about 53 miles per hour. Let me confirm with the team because I'm seeing some different reports.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see a 66. I got 60 earlier. And it's also possible that with this line as it develops, the northern piece is a little bit more organized. So I'm wondering if maybe that's a bit faster than areas further down to the south. So we'll confirm that. And then I'll do like a long track timer on clarity for you all. While we work on that, in the top left, scan the QR code to sign up for Clarity Home. Our team's sending out Nowcast updates as we go throughout the duration of this event. And really any event, there's a new tornado warning. You can see it blinking right here on Clarity. Eventually that'll be heading towards Springfield, Illinois. So we'll examine that in a little bit more detail here in a moment. But scan that QR code. I hope we'll put the link in the comments as well, along with some additional information about a promotion that I know that the team has been working hard on as well for Clarity for this particular storm. And so be sure to scan that QR code, sign up, and get the more detailed updates in our platform throughout the rest of the evening.
Okay. So, Brad, I don't know if you saw what John's talking about. Cells are moving at different speeds.
Yeah.
West of Springfield, 50 miles per hour, but the leading edge west of Bloomington, 66 miles per hour. Brett, maybe as a general idea, we just use kind of 55. I don't know what the warnings have, Brett, in particular.
The warnings this has 45 on it. That seems too slow to me for sure from what I was seeing earlier.
Let's go with 50, Brett, and just use that as a general base for
I'm going to use 50.
Especially because I want to focus in on some of those tornado warned storms.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll do like a general one here through the whole line. And then what we will do is break down the tornado warned ones in a little bit more detail. So let's just look at this line here as it pushes eastward. So gives you a pretty good idea of how this is going to evolve. This is all in Eastern time. And so Indy, wave number 2, potentially in terms of the heavier storms, stronger storms, perhaps. We'll see how strong they are by the time they get here. That'd be closer to 10:30. And then you look further down to the west. Evansville is going to be just before 11 p.m. Eastern, so 10 p.m. Central. You've got Effingham, that'd be 8 p.m. Central. We've got the St. Louis metro area here going to be closer to 6:30 to 6:45 Central or so as this pushes further off to the east. Now, these individual cells here, I'm going to time this out. Let's change this to
Scott, yes, there is. It is an add-on in Clarity to see lightning strikes. Brett, maybe just throw that on real quick. Show Scott how to get lightning.
Yeah, so here and Matt, double verify with me, that is which subscription is that again, that they can get the nationwide lightning? I believe that is the Clarity.
I would have to double check, but the lightning is an added-on service. So if you don't have that service on your package and you're interested, reach out to us and we can get that added to your account.
So Clarity Home Premium, Hope just verified with me. Clarity
Okay.
Home Premium, you can get the nationwide lightning, and you just click the 3 dots in the left and turn on the nationwide lightning. Now that's not going to get you the range rings and the more detailed lightning notifications like a lot of our businesses are using, if you will, but it does give you a look at what lightning is doing across the area. And so you can see here, gosh, Matt, this is lit up with lightning.
Yeah, these are going to be loud storms, to say the least. Brett, let's zoom in just a little bit for Troy, Ohio, or Troy, Missouri. I mean,
Troy, Missouri.
it's just northwest of St. Louis. If you zoom in a little bit for STK, there it is. What is that? That's
I see it, 644 right here.
640. So 544. There you go. Be worth watching those storms for you. Perfect, Scott. Please do.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott, for reaching out.
Either Desire or Desiree. I don't know how to pronounce your first name. I'm sorry. I don't think tornadoes for Central Indy tonight.
No, if I go back here, this is kind of the where you see the coloring. That's where your tornado risk, in my opinion, are going to be.
Yep.
I think the brighter the colors here, the oranges and the reds, the higher the potential. And so this is kind of your bullseye right here into east central portions of Illinois, central, really, I guess you could call it south central Illinois, kind of between St. Louis, Effingham, just south of the Peoria area is going to be your highest risk. Southwest Indiana, a non-zero risk for sure, but I really don't see a tornado risk for Indy. I'd even say Bloomington, Muncie. I think it's just heavy rain, lightning, maybe some gusty winds as the main risk.
Yep. I would agree, Brett. 0 to 5, severe risk in Bloomington, Indiana. I don't know, Brett, 1?
1.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Gusty winds. Lightning, heavy. Hey, but flooding, 3.5, 3 out of 5. I think there's already been some flooding reports down.
Yeah, I mean, the rain we've already had, you tack on another kind of swath of some heavy rain as this moves through. Sure, yeah, it's going to make issues worse. I think the hail threat's low for Indy, I have to be honest. There's enough what we call elevated instability. So instability that's rooted way up in the atmosphere. Maybe we get some hail. The problem is it's going to be pretty linear. It's hard to get big hail with something like that.
Just real quick, I want to time out this tornado warning cell in a little bit more detail here. So this is near Winchester, Illinois right now. Keep in mind the times you were seeing here on the radar, that's Eastern time, so we want to subtract an hour for Central time. But looking at arrival of this tornado warned storm in Springfield, Illinois at about 6:23 p.m. Central time. If this continues further off to the east, expecting this to arrive towards Decatur by about 7 p.m. Central time, just after 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, this tool on the Clarity platform to time these out really helps just give an idea of where to track these most severe storms. We have another tornado warned storm down here, a little bit further to south. That one does expire in 4 minutes. So we'll wait a moment and see if that one is going to be extended or not. But pretty widespread severe storms along this line that has developed out here in west central portions of Illinois and into northeastern and northern portions of Missouri. And so anywhere from St. Louis to Taylorville, Decatur, Springfield, need to keep a very close eye on these storms as they push east, because I think large hail, damaging winds, and certainly the risk for a couple of tornadoes in this corridor are going to be possible over the next few hours.
Yeah, for sure. And Brett, is there 3 tornado warnings in Illinois? Or is that just one that's out ahead of the other?
So I think this is just a very big one.
Okay, then the other. Okay.
It's just a very large tornado warning. And there actually is 3. That one expires. These both expire in 3 minutes.
Okay. Perfect.
Really,
just looking at rotation on these, Brett, there is certainly some. I feel a little bit better about the northern tornado warned storm. Seems a little bit more like some rotation in it. It
Yeah,
looks kind of sloppy. I'll
it,
admit.
it, I would say that it's becoming more and more sloppy, Matt, right now. Just looking at the radar loop here to my right, I've got a couple different radar screens up just to show you all what we're tracking, and so I can see the radar into motion. And I think one issue that is beginning to occur, all of this convection in here, Matt. Let me take out my drawing tool. This is disturbing the environment out ahead of these line of storms. All of this messy activity out ahead of the severe storms. So I always like to see what I call unimpeded flow, where
Yep.
you don't have a bunch of rain and storms south of severe storms. You really want inflow and a warm, moist flow of air into these storms to really wrap them up and allow them to rotate. And these storms developing here are cutting some of that off. Now, it doesn't mean that they're just going to completely fall apart, but they're not very organized right now. It's probably going to be difficult to see long track supercells and long track tornadoes with this type of a setup from what I'm seeing right now.
I would agree, Brett. I think it's going to be tough, if I have to be honest. Obviously we've been talking about some of these storms in Western Illinois, then down into Missouri. It's at least worth watching. I think especially the western edge of storms along the cluster in southern Indiana, Brett. I'm just looking at them on the radar. It looks like they're trying to maybe twist a little bit, and we actually have a new severe warning northwest of Evansville. Likely what for Brett? 1.25 inch hail.
Yep.
Wind gusts 60 miles per hour. Notice the tornado detection is possible because these are. It looks like they're trying to pick up at least some type of rotation in some of those storms. So wouldn't let your guard down completely on especially the western edge of some of those storms.
You can see on clarity here some very broad, messy rotation on some of these cells on the northern edge. I wouldn't say anything that is super defined. This cell is interesting via MRMS here, trying to pick up a little bit of some stronger rotation. Let me go look over at some velocity scans there, because that is a little bit more interesting to me, Matt. It still looks very broad and messy. But I can see why MRMS is trying to pick that up, I would say. There is a little outflow boundary there too, so I'm wondering if it's trying to interact with that a little bit.
I suppose a very low interest there, Brett, but my gut says probably those areas avoid.
I would agree.
Louisville Scanner, great to see you. Rain, go away. Well, we got a little bit before the rain completely goes away.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up real quick. This is our flash flood guidance that we have internally for our meteorologists to look at to help assist with issuing flash flood warnings and flash flood statements, and just giving you all more of a precise heads up directly in the Clarity platform when we see rainfall activity that would support the risk for flooding. And Matt, this is a decent signal here in southwestern and south central Indiana, but man, look at just west of Effingham, Illinois. Very, very high signal for flash flooding just to the west of Effingham, Illinois. There is a flash flood warning in effect. In fact, we've got pretty widespread flash flood warnings in effect from Vincennes to Bloomington to Bedford, Indiana, out towards Effingham, Illinois for this rain that's ongoing. And if we turn the radar back on, Matt, these just are not going anywhere fast.
No. Flooding is going to be a big deal, I think, Brett, over the next couple hours with this.
You could make the argument that we could potentially at some point need to trend and actually I think you did earlier.
I did before we got in the stream. I trimmed our flash flood watch south a little bit.
He trimmed the flash flood watch south.
And by trim, I mean shift south.
Yeah, shift south. And we may need to look at a new flash flood warning eventually here as these continue to kind of sag south, or east, southeast, if you will, with some very, very heavy, persistent rain. Jasper, Vincennes, Paoli, Salem. That's a flood-prone area as is Bedford and Bloomington. So certainly concerned about these areas for very heavy rain and flooding. We can actually also pull up the observed rainfall just over the past 3 hours. This is out through 6 a.m. So it did update 30 minutes ago, and we already have 3 inches of rain observed near Bedford, Indiana, and we still have a lot more heavy rain to go. So certainly very concerned about flooding concerns in this corridor here.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, real quick, I see a lot of folks are continue to ask about Indiana tonight, and
Sure.
I would say for overwhelming majority of us, I just don't think there's a tornado threat. I think the severe risk is low, if I have to be honest. Some wind gusts, maybe some hail as the line rolls through. Again, we were getting about near 50 miles per hour, give or take, speeds. Depends on where you measure. You can get speeds up to 60 miles per hour to as low as 45 miles per hour. But if you time that out, Brett, just to give folks an idea of timing out ahead, just to give them a sense.
So this is your main second wave, if you will. All right, so 10:43 for the second wave for Indianapolis. Now, keep in mind, we've still got rain ongoing right now. We've got messier rain and storms in between this second line. So it's not just going to be one line. We're going to continue to deal with on and off rain throughout the evening hours, especially in southern Indiana where we have the training of storms ongoing, but likely to deal with this heavier or stronger second wave of storms. 10:10 in Kokomo, 10:43 for Indianapolis, Terre Haute about 9:48. And then if we take a look here further to the south of Vincennes, 10:52, Evansville, 11:31. That's probably going to be closer to 10:30 Central. And we zoom this out, Louisville, you've got a long way to go. How about 1 a.m. for the arrival of this activity for Louisville? But if you're not seeing storms right now, this highlights to you that we still have a long ways to go with this activity out to the west.
Yeah. And Bethany, no derecho risk for Indiana tonight.
Yeah. And yeah, it's not going to completely die out. I see your comment there, BD Reef. Not expecting it to completely die out as it approaches Indy, but all of this rain that's ongoing right now is going to be making it very difficult for us to see, number one, widespread severe storms and certainly tornado risks.
Yep. And again, Brett, maybe we're showing again the graphic about the weather WOFS tornado probability of just where the potential for tornadoes are. And again, that's, in my opinion, extreme southwestern Indiana, southeastern Illinois to Peoria, St. Louis, Effingham, and then a low end risk with some of those storms as they move east through Missouri for a time.
Yeah, and
you get east of that, I just don't think you're dealing with tornadoes. So, but a few stronger storms, I just wouldn't rule out. There's enough instability present. I just can't rule it out.
Absolutely.
So
New Run is trying to come in right now. So here is, screenshot this and I'll throw it in here in just a moment. It to me, Matt, looks like it may even be having a harder time of getting this further to the east.
Brett, wouldn't be shocked, I guess.
So this takes us out through, this is through 9 p.m.
Okay.
So it's not in all the way yet, but I was just looking at the hour by hour steps and it's just having a hard time getting east.
Well, that kind of matches the current radar, yeah, Brett?
It does, for sure.
Yeah, that more or less matches the current radar. I'm quickly, Brett, I'm looking west to Evansville. I want to make sure, kind of by Grayville.
Here is a general idea of how these storms may progress. Let me go over to a newer run. See if we're in. So this is about 8 p.m. So in about an hour and a half, probably a pretty decent idea of how the radar is going to look.
Yeah, there may be a little bit more activity in between the southern Indiana and the line out to the west, but there is a little bit of a gap there towards Effingham. I'm sure they'll take it, how much rain they've gotten. So
Here's the newest run coming in right now, Matt. So trying to pick that up a little bit, but yeah, probably a little bit underdone in between. But you can see the main line, and note how as it approaches the Indy area, again, it just kind of becomes a big mess.
Yep. So, and then that's the second round we've been talking about. That's been possible. So could provide for some severe weather, but again, tornado risk I'm highly doubtful as it moves into Indiana. So just to reiterate that, I'm sure we're going to continue to get questions on that. Tornado risk for Brown County, don't think so.
Very low. Yeah. Same thing for Indy. No risk. Not favoring a risk for Indy.
Yep.
Southwest Ohio, yeah, same thing there. Heavy rain, a gusty storm.
It may weaken a little bit. I don't think it completely dies. There's too much. It's a front moving through. There's too much forcing. There's too much instability. Highly doubtful it's just going to die before Indy. I think it's highly unlikely it just dies. Tornado risk for Crawfordsville? Don't think so.
Let me. I'm going to draw because I like to. Because it's really cool to be able to draw on the Clarity platform. So if you want to do that, scan the QR code in the top left. But here's where I would circle, Matt, and you can tell me if you disagree. In terms of the tornado risk, I would say this is your corridor. And maybe you could get something isolated down here towards Poplar Bluff, Carbondale, Paducah. But from what I'm seeing on radar, this is where your risk for a tornado would be. And from current indications, it may not even be all that impressive. It may be a bigger hail risk than anything.
Yeah, I mean, really, right now, Brett, we've got one tornado warning west of Springfield.
Just the one, and the rest of them are just severe warned. But this would be my highest concern area for severe weather and perhaps a couple of tornadoes. Further to the east, I think your highest flash flood risk is setting up kind of through here.
For sure.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
But you will fill back in some rain into central Indiana too. It just probably won't be all that severe. Let's see here. NWS Indy posted a moderate chance of a tornado watch being issued before 9 p.m.
Huh?
I would be surprised by that from what I'm seeing.
How are you looking to, Brett?
Yeah. I just don't agree with that.
I don't even see it, Brett.
I'll ask the team to do some investigating. That may be incorrect. I'm not 100% sure, but we are going to verify. Our team hasn't seen anything. But just, again, what I have drawn here, guys, just to give you a general overview. Blue circled area, that is where I'm most concerned, I would say, about severe weather in general. And they actually did tweet that. Interesting. Regardless.
Yeah, I find that very interesting.
Circled area is where we would favor the highest risk for maybe a couple of tornadoes, but mainly, severe storms to be possible, very large hail, damaging wind gusts. If you're in this green circled area, that is where I would be monitoring for flash flood concerns over the next several hours. If you're north and east of these areas, including Kokomo, Indy, Muncie, Terre Haute, Crawfordsville, Johnson County, that is where we will need to watch for rain and storms to fill back in. I think that there could be a couple of gusty storms, Matt. I think that that's not out of the question. I certainly think locally heavy rain and lightning, but I think tornadoes are going to be difficult.
Yeah. The instability, at least surface-based and mixed layer Cape, just doesn't look like it'll be enough.
Yeah, I'm just reading.
Me too. I'm reading that too, Brett.
Our team has in here. I do want to zoom in here on Springfield, Illinois. We do have a new tornado warning that has been issued. This goes out through 6:15 p.m. Central Time. This is a radar indicated tornado, and so if you were, I'm honestly, Matt, surprised that they didn't put this further out to the east. There's a new tornado warning too. So now we have 2 tornado warnings right now. That includes just south of Mason City, Illinois, Petersburg, Illinois, Greenville, Middletown, Elkhart, Broadwell, and New Holland. We have a tornado warning that has been issued. This is a radar indicated tornado. These are moving east at 50 miles per hour. And so I will put some new timers on here, Matt, and we will kind of time out the core of the rotation as these push further to the east. Let me do the linear one so it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, yep. And you can see those little kinks along the line. Those are what we're looking for as far as the tornado risk in these lines, these embedded tornadoes.
All right, so here's timing. Again, this is in Eastern time, so we want to take an hour off of this because we're looking in Illinois. So a core of the storm arriving in Middletown around 5:52 p.m., New Holland 5:51 p.m., and then out towards Atlanta, Illinois, closer to about 6:15 p.m. Central Time. Further out to the east, if this continues, if we were to extend this tornado warning, we'd be looking at Clinton, Illinois at about 6:38 p.m. Central Time. Looks like a CC drop potentially, Matt, that Jacob is looking at here. That is on the one near Springfield. So let's time this one out. We'll choose a different color.
Yep.
We'll do a pink here.
You know, Brett, as soon as I said there's just one tornado warning, 2 more got issued.
It'll pop up. That's how it goes most of the time.
Yeah.
We jinx it. We jinx it. Okay, so timing here, Springfield, Illinois, that would be 6:04 p.m. Central Time for the arrival of this tornado warned storm. They probably, based off what I see there on the CCs, and guys, CCs basically just a way for us to look at whether there could potentially be debris or something other than rain inside a storm. We can also use it for the purpose of large hail as well. But based off of some of the broad rotation there and some of the indications we're seeing, I would be surprised if this isn't extended a little bit further out to the east. So I would say Springfield, Illinois, I would imagine that you will eventually be in a tornado warning. 6:04 p.m. Central Time, that's only 20 minutes of lead time. I think that they need to go ahead and extend this warning, Matt. Even if it's a little bit of a broader rotation right now, I think that it warrants at least extending it a little bit further to the east.
Yeah, for sure, Brett. I agree with you as far as they probably will eventually have that get into Springfield. Someone mentioned, where was it? Rotation by Greenview, Illinois. I have no idea honor where Greenview is, if I have to be honest. Hopefully that's in the area we're talking about, but let me know.
I'm checking.
Brett, there may be some messy rotation even south of these warnings ongoing.
So Greenville is actually
Greenview.
Oh, Greenview. Well, that's a difference.
Yeah, RCR, National Weather Service calling for a tornado threat for central Indy around 8 to 10. Call me skeptical. Skeptical? Can't even talk. Call me suspect of that. I can't even say the word.
Skep. Just say
I'm skep.
We're
I'm
skep
of that.
Yeah, guys, right now, I think biggest concern out here in Illinois, and Matt, this is exactly where that warn on, maybe a little bit further to the north, but very, very close to where it was actually.
Yeah,
Not really.
I'd say dead on, Brett. Really.
Yeah. This Matt, for every single model, for those of you familiar, there are 100 different weather models we can look at. And for every model that we've looked at today, this is by far the model that has done the best. But it doesn't run all the time. It should just run all the time. If anybody from NOAA is listening, just run this model all the time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because the other ones have been poor today. New severe thunderstorm warning down to the south, just to the north of the Louisville metro area. That is for a 70-mile-per-hour wind.
Wow.
So a pretty nasty storm here, approaching New Albany, Indiana, Sellersburg, Charlestown, just to the south of Henryville, Borden, Greenville, Indiana. So 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, fairly populated area down there, just north of downtown Louisville. So,
Brett, time that one out if you
Yeah.
could, because 70-mile-per-hour winds is no joke.
has us moving east at 40 miles per hour. If somebody on the team could just double check that and verify that that is correct.
Yeah, let me.
At a base.
Let's see what they got. Oh, we'll see if they put a tornado watch in Indy. I don't think they will for Louisville. I don't think they should for Indy. How about that?
Yep, 40. John got 40. Okay, so timing here as this moves towards the Ohio River, we've got really it's right on the step of Greenville, Borden, Sellersburg there along Highway 60, 711. Charlestown will be 717. We'll be looking towards Henryville at 7:06, Scottsburg 7 p.m. And so damaging wind gusts, 70 miles per hour can certainly cause power outages in here, down trees and power lines. Certainly a concern as these move through in southern portions of Clark County and the northern half of Floyd County here, perhaps clipping northern Jefferson County in northern Kentucky, kind of just north, perhaps scraping just to the north of downtown Louisville here, scraping Jeffersonville, Utica, Goshen, and Crestwood over the next 30 or 40 minutes or so.
Brett, that's your neck of the woods.
It is my neck of the woods. So hopefully Callahan and all the family members are watching. And
they are. I saw Callahan pop in. She go, Matt, it's for our house.
Yes. The Waltz residents under a severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Apologies in advance to our neighbors. I'm sure some of our patio furniture will be flying over there.
Yeah. Well, if they could be ever so kind and return it back for you.
Hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. Okay, so that is the most severe storm at this point right now in Indiana. Is that one in Floyd and Clark County and scraping northeastern portions of Harrison County. There is another one. Whoa.
Brett, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm here though. So anyway, what I was saying is northern portions of Harrison County still under a severe thunderstorm warning as well for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and 1-inch diameter hail. And then out to the west of this is kind of where the training of heavy rain is ongoing and where we have flash flood warnings. I do think that may need to be expanded south towards the Jasper area, perhaps, and Paoli as well. Paoli and Salem, again, just knowing the area, flood prone. So that may need to be an area where flash flood warnings are expanded south, given the training of the storms from west to east in those areas continuing over the next hour or two at least.
Yeah, gosh, Brett, southern Indiana right now is littered between National Weather Service flood warnings and our own flood warnings right now.
Yeah, we and shout out to NOAA because NOAA Beacon put out a flash flood watch just to the west of this area. I expanded it later this morning, but he put out a flash flood watch last night, probably 20 hours ago. And
so real quick, Brett, a lot of questions central Indiana continue to come in. Do you have that big timer up still? It was around what, 10:30, 10:40 central Indiana?
Yeah, it was. I will. I'll do a new timer.
I think it's in my opinion, it's strong wind gust, isolated hail. That'll be the risk. I just don't think we have the tornado risk in Indy.
I took it off because it was getting a little messy.
Yeah, with the tornado warning timers and whatnot.
But just to give everyone a general idea. This would put it at 10:17. That might be a little bit fast. I think my line here may be a little bit too fast, but I think 10:30, Matt, for Indy is a reasonable assessment for this secondary wave.
Yep.
Columbus, Indiana area have a tornado risk again late tonight. I don't think so. Morgan County, yes, after 8 p.m. That is when the second wave probably closer to 10 p.m. or a little bit after. Central Indiana, guys, not favoring tornado risk right now. I think some stronger storms, heavy rain, and lightning possible with the second wave. That's what we have timed out for you here. So Indy, 10:15 to 10:30 p.m. But again, right now, not favoring widespread severe weather for the Indy metro area.
A lot of questions keep coming in. Tornadoes, central Indiana, southern Indiana, so on and so forth.
Yeah, getting real quick, I'm getting multiple reports and one from our client as well of the local hospital in Bloomington having flooded. So just to show that the heavy rain there definitely having negative impacts in southern Indiana right now.
Sure. And more rain to come. And so, unfortunately, especially the second pulse of rain rolls through, Brett, this evening, probably Bloomington, similar timing around 10:30, Brett-ish?
Yep. Yeah, I would say so. Yep, 10:18 according to this.
And then I'm just looping the radar. There's more storms, more rains filling in from the southwest, Brett. So if you're already dealing with flooding, I think it's going to be a while before it substantially gets any better. In fact, it probably just gets a little bit worse.
So, Matt, I was noticing the same thing. I'm going to turn off the storm tracks for a second. It almost seems like this cluster that had moved south is trying to lift back north. Like if you look at the back here, southwest of Bloomington, it almost looks like it's trying to lift back north.
Yeah, I think, Brett, the low-level jet's starting to try to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that from earlier. Man, if that happens, the flooding that is going to happen in this corridor, in the circling area, it is going to be substantial. Through here. Because if these storms are lifting back to the north, filling back in, you're going to have several inches additionally of heavy rain through here. So let's turn on our flash flood guidance again. You can see it lighten up here, Matt. So guys, we talk a lot and we always get the most questions about tornadoes and severe weather, but flooding statistically kills more people every year than tornadoes do. And so we need to be taking this situation across southwest and southern Indiana very, very seriously tonight. We've already got flooding reports. Stay inside, stay off the roads, especially if you know that you live in a flood-prone area. Just stay inside today and for the rest of the evening. There's no reason to get out and about, especially as you head into after dark, and it's very difficult to see ponding on roadways. It only takes a foot of moving water to sweep a car away. And just from personal experience here, this is an area that is very prone to flooding. Bloomington, Columbus, Bedford, Salem, these are areas that have had numerous instances over the year of flooding issues. And from what I am seeing right now, you put on multiple additional inches of rain in this corridor, and we could have some very serious issues as we go throughout the evening.
Yeah, Brett, I 100% agree. I don't know if you see what some of the folks, some of the teams putting in chat, the purely radar estimates south of Bloomington
Bedford.
of over 5 inches of rain. That's by Bedford, and it's still raining. It's still storming. It's still training storms, and like you said, the storms, at least the coverage of some of that rain on the northern edge drifting to the north, that is 100% a concern in those areas. Substantial flooding. I'm
Yeah,
concerned about.
it's not out of the question, Matt, that some of these areas could pick up, 10 inches of rain today when all is said and done. I'm looking at the new HRRR, and it puts down for Bloomington and Bedford an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain this evening.
Yeah.
And
based off what I see on the radar, Brett, I don't know, that probably happens.
if there's some spots that already have 5 or 6 inches of rain, you're approaching 8 or 9 inches of rain for just today.
Right. So, certainly a very dangerous situation from just the rainfall totals by themselves.
Let's flip back over real quick to Illinois here.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, Brett, looking at velocities.
John is working on new timing graphics right now for that, getting 48 miles an hour on these in central Illinois.
Okay.
We'll get some new timing on that here. Ooh, I don't know if I like the green. We're going to have to switch back to pink. There we go. All right, so updated timing, storm tracker timing from the Clarity platform here. Again, these are showing in Eastern time, so subtract an hour. We're looking at Illinois, so 6:09 p.m. Central Time for Springfield. You can see the 2 tornado warnings still in effect, and what can often lead to the tornado warnings and the spin-ups in these types of situations, Matt, are the notches. See how we're getting notches in this line? It's not just a straight line. It's starting to get wavy, and when you get that type of look, that's when you can start to get those spin-ups to occur. It's what we dealt with in downtown Indy. It was a much more localized instance, but that's what happened in Indy on Friday. Is you got more organized line of storms, and you started to get kind of the waves and the bowing segments within the line, and that's what can help enhance some of the tornado risk. And so this corridor need to be keeping a close eye on here for severe storms, strong storms, heavy rain, and perhaps a tornado or two spinning up. Not looking at long track supercells, in my opinion, but
No.
certainly risk nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure, Brett. And a storm, it's not in a tornado warning, but I was just looking at velocities it's north of St. Louis by Jerseyville, Illinois. It's kind of on the southern edge of some of these storms. Yeah, that severe warned storm. Brett, looks like maybe a little bit of rotation trying to show. You can almost see the little hook.
Yeah, I'm starting to see them on a couple of them, Matt. If you look here, you can see the one near Jerseyville, Brussels. It's a baby one, but you can see it over here
Yeah.
now near Moscow Mills. What a name, Moscow Mills. Here just northwest of St. Louis. So, and Matt, what I like from an enhanced rotation risk perspective, these are unimpeded. There are not storms to their south that are going to be cutting off the warm inflow into these storms.
Right. Yep. And that's where that model you showed before, Brett, had generally that kind of area of where the best tornado risk is. And there it is.
Yep,
is that
there it is.
us or is that the National Weather Service?
That is the National Weather Service new tornado warning that includes Jerseyville, Fidelity, Medora, Carlinville, Chesterfield, and this goes out through the next 43 minutes, so out through 6:45 p.m. Central Time. This is a radar indicated tornado at this point. I will put a new tracker on this here. And interesting where the rotation is on this. You're going to get hit with probably a hail core first, and then the rotation. So kind of an interesting little setup.
Brett, it's I wonder how long that one will last though, if the front behind catches up, so to speak, and swallows it up.
Very well could be, Matt.
It's a fairly long tornado warning too.
So timing on this, I just kind of put it towards the core of the storm because they're going to get hit with heavy rain and hail first. So Fidelity 6:09 p.m. Central Time for the core of this storm. 7:30 between Carlinville and East Gillespie. If this extends beyond the current warning, you're looking at Litchfield. That'll be 6:43 p.m. Raymond 6:51 p.m. Hillsborough 6:53 p.m. Central Time. Bloomington has a decently low chance for tornadoes. I would agree. Yeah, I think Bloomington very low. Bloomington, Indiana, that is a very low chance for tornadoes.
Brett, interesting. I'm looking at the MU Cape right around Central Indy, and there's a little gradient there. Could help maybe support certainly some strong wind gust as it barrels through Central Indiana.
Yeah, I think strong wind gusts definitely still on the table. I mean, this line needs to be watched. Certainly don't think we're done with storms for the night.
No. And John said he was getting about 50 miles per hour or 48 miles per
48,
hour. Looks
yep.
like. Okay. Brett, go ahead and time that out through Central Indiana. I think that'll answer a lot of folks' questions as far as timing.
This time, and we were getting 50 earlier, so it's a little bit slower than what we discussed before, but nothing too crazy. If we put 50 back on it, 10:35, that's kind of what we talked about, was right around 10:30.
Jeremy, you asked about the storms firing off by themselves in southern Indiana. In my opinion, a low end risk on the western edge of those storms. In my opinion, I think you probably avoid tornadoes further to the east. Finally seeing sky on the west side, not just clouds. Hey, things have certainly cleared up enough.
So what I have here, guys, on the screen, that is the timing for our stronger second round of storms that will move in. So we're looking at just around 10:30 or shortly after for downtown Indianapolis. We are looking at Terre Haute at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Bloomington 10:45 p.m. Eastern Time, out towards Richmond, Indiana by about 12 a.m. So this shows you exactly how we expect this will be progressing over the next several hours. Now, your highest threat for severe weather, in my opinion, and I will draw on here just to highlight this for you all. Try the red one. Will be in this corridor. This is where your highest risk is going to be. Eventually, that may fill in further south later in the evening in southwestern portions of Illinois. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have any strong storms towards Indy, but the environment a little bit better further out to the west.
Right.
You know, I still think, as you mentioned, there is a little bit of what we call elevated instability building in. When you get that, you can have some strong wind gusts. And I certainly think that with the dynamics of the storm system, some strong to
Yeah.
maybe borderline severe wind gusts are going to be possible in addition to very heavy rain and lightning for sure.
Yep, I agree, Brett. And you could just, I don't know, looking at it on the radar, right? It's forming. It's starting to form a line. It's shifting east. I don't know. My gut says there'll be some severe warnings in Central Indy tonight. So my
Yeah,
gut says.
there'll be a couple. Josh says no way that line will make it 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, if you're in Central Indy, that's probably how it's felt.
Hey, we got hit today. Good.
In Indianapolis, it kind of petered out a little bit, Brett.
Well, you're gonna start a ruckus, Matt, with the Indy bubble and all that.
Oh, I know. These storms, by the way, in southern Indiana, it looks like they continue to flare up some storms out ahead, Brett. And so even before the timing, probably be some type of storm activity out ahead.
Yeah, and that was kind of
You can
my
see that.
that was kind of my concern earlier. Was just all of this rain filling in out ahead of this next line. It is just going to make it that much harder for them to sustain their current intensity with more widespread severe weather, and certainly the tornado risk.
We got a lot of rain, says Liana. Yeah, I'm not sure where you're at, Liana, but depending on where you're at, probably a good chunk more. What about Peru and Kokomo? Bad storms? Kind of on the edge of the instability. Wouldn't it be shocked for, I don't know, wind gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour?
Yeah, a gusty one.
Yep.
John is working on a new Nowcast here. Oh, he must. Okay, so he likes my 10:40-ish timing for Indy. It looks like so.
Yep.
I will. I'll go ahead and. Nope, we've got a bunch of X's on it. So don't.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe give it a second.
I'll hold off.
Yeah.
We're
Give
live.
it a little bit. Yep. In a moment, we'll show you guys a Nowcast we're about ready to send on our Clarity application. Brett, yeah, you've got the QR code in the top left-hand corner. If you scan that QR code, someone on my team will put the sign-up link in the comments as well. But that gets you access to our Clarity application. Again, we're so much more than just these lives, videos, Nowcasts, etc. You name it. We actually have a discount, 20% off, Brett. Storm 20, I believe, at discount.
Yep.
At checkout.
Yep. Storm 20 at checkout, all caps. Be sure to take advantage of this while you can. This is going to be, clarity in these situations. Once I can actually share John's Nowcast, I'm going to show you why it's so valuable in these situations, because we're just giving so much more advance notice than what a severe thunderstorm warning 2 or 3 hours to the west is going to give you. Trying to go out in the future to give you more time to prepare. And the Nowcast are something that no one else does like we do, and it's really awesome to be able to have to keep yourself safe and prepared in these types of situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Let alone videos through the day and
by the way, the great feature now that our team, I think it was last year, worked really hard on is the override, the emergency override. So if there is a tornado warning or a life-threatening situation, it will override silent mode. So you can go to bed, turn your phone on silent mode, make sure you have that emergency override on in your Clarity notifications within your app, within your notification settings on your phone, and it'll wake you up. It'll send you an alert. I promise you cannot sleep through it. It is very loud. It will wake you up, and you will be sure to stay safe, but also get some sleep while you're at it. So it's the best of both worlds. No reason to stay up and radar watch all night long. That's our job, not yours.
Yep. Jeremy, so did the PDS watch to the south just not develop the way it was initially thought? Yeah, well, for starters, we didn't issue that. But certainly the storms have just kind of failed to materialize in that PDS tornado watch. So it looks like may end up being a little bit of A bus for the time being there.
Cindy asked about the severe weather timing for Bedford. You still have heavy rain over the next couple of hours. That's going to linger around, but for this next wave, you're looking at about 11:27, probably 11:30 or so this evening for the next wave. Thank you, Nikki. I am glad that you love that feature. I think that's something that a lot of people ask for a long time. We always are listening to recommendations that you all have and passing it along to our team and doing whatever we can to make clarity as beneficial and as effective and efficient for you as possible.
Brett, I'm just doing a quick little scan, seeing if there's anything on velocities of concern. Brett, it looks like those tornado warnings further north by, say, Lincoln and Springfield
They're gone.
been allowed to expire or just got simply removed. But we still have that one by Jerseyville that we were discussing earlier. Certainly still see the rotation within that storm. So if you're in that particular tornado warning, certainly seek shelter.
2.5-inch diameter hail on this as well.
Yeah, it's no joke. Okay, it looks like did you already show the Nowcast, Brett?
I haven't yet. Let me pull that up.
If you're in kind of out ahead of that, you should have gotten that Nowcast sent to your phone if you are in Clarity.
There we go. So this is a great example from meteorologist John Kemper of the Nowcast that we are going to send out frequently during these events. Not only is it giving you timing, but it's giving you specific details of threats. So if you are west of the red line, that is your greatest potential for 70+ mile per hour wind gusts, large hail, and a few tornadoes. East of the red line, and that is going to include Lafayette, Bloomington, Columbus, Indy, Greenwood, Kokomo, Muncie, scattered pockets of 60 mile per hour gusts, and isolated large hail likely. Tornado risk to be very low end, in our opinion. South of I-70, elevated flash flooding risks due to additional streaks of 1 to 3 inches of rain. And so now this is an awesome Nowcast. It's a great example of the more precise details and the valuable information that you can get out, because you're not getting a specific timed out severe thunderstorm watch or severe thunderstorm warning that far out. And so really gives you some more information that you can actually make decisions off of in real time.
Yep. So hopefully this graphic in itself answers a lot of the questions I see, Bargersville, Indy, et cetera, in central Indiana. Hopefully this kind of clears that up a little bit for folks in terms of threats, timing, et cetera.
Yep, and I'm going to save this for future reference to pull back up later, because I think that tells you exactly what you need to know for the rest of the night. West of the red line, it's your highest severe weather potential, highest risk for a few tornadoes. East of that, some strong wind gusts, isolated large hail, tornado risk are low end. Somebody asked in here, I don't see it now, but somebody asked earlier, oh, there it is. Is timing something that I can do on Clarity? Timing is something you can do on Clarity right now on the desktop app. So claritywx.com, and I know that's a feature that is coming to mobile as well. But right now, if we take a look here, we can click this little arrow. You can see it maybe just cut off my screen. Let me see if I can shift my screen around just a little bit. Wrong direction. There we go. So this arrow on the radar legend that you see here in the bottom right, you can click on the storm track, and then you can click on new track, and then click anywhere and start drawing and draw a new track. And so, storm tracking tools available on Clarity here. You can also do the cellular mode. So if you just want to track one cell, you can click on cellular and do it that way. And you can do multiple at a time, which I think is really cool. It's probably my favorite feature, Matt, that has been added to Clarity.
It is nice, and it's especially nice as we're live discussing these streams, and just makes everything pretty seamless for us for the most part.
Yeah,
analyzing the storms, and a cool feature for folks to use. You just have to know the timing of the storms, which may be the most difficult for folks. Brett, continue to see rotation. That storm by Jerseyville, Illinois, well, now east towards Shipman.
Yeah, I can see it in here. Getting increasingly messy, I would say, Matt, but it's definitely still there. You can still see the little hook. I'll switch over to the whoops. Let me switch over to the local radar here. It'll be a little bit easier to see on KLSX in St. Louis. All right. Well, let me see. Any other questions while we kind of watch this activity? Any chance of tornadoes in southeast Indiana? I don't think so. I think especially down there, by the time this line gets to you, number one, atmosphere's really been worked over by that point, and you're after dark, way after dark by the time this gets into southeast Indiana.
I think, Brett, the team's looking by Decatur, Illinois.
Okay. Oh, there's a new tornado warning.
Where's that at, Brett?
That is heading towards Clinton.
Clinton, okay. So just east of Lincoln. Okay, I see it, Brett. Definitely see the area rotation. Just northwest of Mount Pulaski.
Yep. So again, guys, times on here on Eastern time. So that would be 6:37 p.m. Central time for Kinney, 6:40 p.m. Central time for Tunebridge, and then near Clinton at about 6:47 p.m. So if you're in the path of this, I need to be taking shelter, radar indicative rotation. And I know our team, right before that was issued, was keeping an eye on this cell here. You can see the little hook, Matt, trying to develop. So perhaps some kind of rotation in here with this storm. That is just southeast of Decatur. So we'll need to be keeping an eye on this one as it pushes to the north and to the east, closer to potentially eventually towards Urbana-Champaign there, Matt.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be watched. I was laughing earlier at K-Jo, her message.
Yeah. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate your support. Kokomo, I think you're okay. I think some strong wind gusts will be possible though.
Any risk in Charleston right now with this warning? I assume you mean Charleston, Illinois. I'm not sure where that's at, Brett.
Well, I figured she was talking about Charlestown, Indiana.
Maybe she is, because there is a severe warning.
Yes. So assuming that is what you're talking about. I knew that because again, I grew up right there. But
that's right. Okay, yeah,
Charlestown. So 60 mile per hour wind gusts as this arrives. It's right on your doorstep right now. Some very heavy rain, lightning going to be a risk as well. The warning has decreased some. It was for 70 earlier. It's now for 60 mile per hour wind gusts. It does expire in 8 minutes. It hasn't been extended, at least just yet. But regardless, a strong storm moving through. And if I remember correctly from earlier, if we turn our lightning on, there's been a lot of lightning with these storms down here in southern Indiana. So probably quite the lightning show ongoing right now as well.
Man, that rain situation in southern Indiana is
Yeah,
bad business.
let's see. We probably have a new observed rainfall. Yep, we do. So this is let me just do 24-hour. Gets us through the entire day. So yeah, already on clarity, indicating 3.5 inches of rain having fallen in Bedford over the past 24 hours, and just northwest of Effingham, more than 5 inches in spots has already fallen.
Brett, it's interesting. I know we're far from the radar, but if you go to KIND, the cell west of Terre Haute,
I'm having issues getting this to load. Let me.
we're kind of in that pesky little gap in radars. But if you check velocity on perhaps on whatever you're checking velocities on, Brett, that may be a sneaky one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, let me pull that one up. New severe thunderstorm warning in southern Indiana, just south of Paoli as well for large hail. This one.
Yeah.
So heavy rain, large hail, strong wind gusts down there.
Randy, great to see you. Yeah, these storms have just really persisted through the day, really limited the amount of instability we had to build further north by you. If those storms didn't occur, obviously it would be probably a different story right now. But yeah, kind of crazy to believe that we've got the severe weather here, Brett. And you probably looked at this more than I have. Is there frost risk upcoming?
Yeah, we'll need to watch. I believe it is, if I am remembering correctly, Saturday and Sunday. I think especially Saturday, we need to keep an eye on the potential for frost, mainly north of I-70. Mainly north of I-70. In fact, I can look at the daily here. So Saturday, you can see on clarity, this is for Greenwood trying to show 37 degrees, 38 on Sunday morning. If we look at our chances tab, if I remember earlier, getting close, 36 degrees Saturday morning, perhaps in outlying areas in the Indy area. So probably north of Indy, we'll be getting down into frost territory.
Brett, maybe show the Nowcast graphic for folks in Central Indy, because we continue to get a flux of questions about Central Indy.
Yeah, guys. So this is the Nowcast that meteorologist John Kemper put out on the Clarity platform about 20 minutes ago, where he is highlighting where the greatest potential for severe weather is and the timing of the second line of storms. And so for Indy, expecting the second line to arrive at about 10:40 p.m. Eastern time. If you are west of this red line through the middle of the map, that is where our highest risks are going to be for potential of wind gusts of 70 plus miles per hour, large hail, and a few tornadoes. If you are east of the red line, still think that some scattered pockets of a strong to severe wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour are going to be possible. Isolated large hail also likely. The tornado risks, though, are going to be more low end in nature, not likely going to be a widespread or a big tornado risk.
I do want to directly answer a question. Emmanuel, you were asking about is that Terre Haute storm rotating? It looks like there's maybe some weak rotation. Just need to see some more definitive signs of it. It's kind of far from the radar. So, that particular storm west of Terre Haute from the Indianapolis radar, we're 6.7 thousand feet. We're sampling that particular storm. That's pretty far up there.
So our team did issue Matt a new tornado warning, a custom BAM tornado warning for rotation here near Auburn, Illinois, and Pawnee. This goes out through the next 33 minutes, so out through about 6:50 p.m. Actually, excuse me, that would be 7 p.m. Central Time. moving northeast at 45 to 50 miles per hour.
Where is that storm, Brett? Can you zoom out a little bit?
Yeah, so this is between Springfield and it's between the two tornado warnings. So it's just south of Springfield, Illinois, though.
Okay.
So
Okay, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah, here's some timing on that. So looking to cross Interstate 55 here at about 6:35 p.m. Central Time. It'll arrive in Pawnee by 6:40 p.m. Central Time. And then further out to the east towards Edinburgh at 6:54 p.m. And let's see here. Eventually crossing, what interstate is this here? What highway is this? Let's zoom all the way in. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's not showing up.
Brownsburg is east of that line, Janet.
Yep, there's that line again.
Yeah, Randy, that 36-degree mark is kind of the magic number for frost. With 36 degrees, you got to have calm winds and clear skies. That'll be the kicker as far as getting frost. Doesn't necessarily for sure mean frost.
Big new severe thunderstorm warning here. North of St. Louis, including Alton, Greenville, Litchfield. That's for an 1.5-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. They do note that we need to watch for potential tornado detection in here as well.
Kristen, that the Anderson would be east of the red line. Great question. Big thunder in Columbus, says Ashley. Gosh, I'm sure it's been probably constant thunder and lightning there in southern Indiana. It's just been kind of nonstop.
Yeah, if we turn on the nationwide lightning, 1,300 strikes in the past 10 minutes across the board, and a lot of it coming here in southern Indiana. Even if you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, you don't want to be outside in this just from a lightning perspective. A lot of frequent lightning in here. Yeah, planters are going to be parked for a few. You know, we did need this rain. We needed some rain to get into the ground, although I'm sure a lot of folks probably would have preferred it to not be 4 inches of rain all at once.
Yeah.
Long-term gain.
The rain came, but man, it just kind of came all at once.
All right, let me turn the light.
Yeah, Ash, since 3 p.m. Yeah, it's been pretty nonstop for you, and unfortunately for you in Bloomington, we got kind of another group of storms on its way.
Somebody asking about kind of the exit time, so I'll do a little back edge.
I'm no F to give. Cracks me up. We got the break I needed to get the dog outside. Great success. He was talking earlier in the live about how he's trying to get a game plan to get his dog taken outside.
So looks like this will clear out of Indy 11:45 to midnight-ish.
Okay. That makes sense of what I was looking at earlier, Brett, modeling. So you're timing out the back edge?
Yep, back edge. Put it between kind of 11:39 and midnight across the board for central Indiana.
Jacob is pretty concerned about this storm south of St. Louis. And I see what he's looking at, Brett.
Oh, yeah.
That probably needs to go tornado warned.
Yeah, I see they have our own tornado warning on this one here.
Yep, a BAM tornado warning on that cell. That'll be one to watch, Brett. There's nothing out ahead
There
of
it
it. It's kind
is.
of in its own little.
There it is. They just issued it. I just
Do
saw
what
it.
now?
I said they just issued a tornado warning on it. It just hasn't populated on the screen yet.
The National Weather Service.
Yes.
Okay, so shout out to Jake for getting out ahead of that particular tornado warning south of St. Louis.
It's interesting. They plopped the severe warning on it, and then just the tornado one right on top of it.
Yeah, interesting. What is the warning for, Brett? The severe warning, by the way.
2-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
Okay.
So John had sent a message earlier. They did issue a new MD for whatever that's worth. Through here.
Kobe, my chocolate lab refuses to go outside. My dog would be outside, get super muddy, and then get mud everywhere. I wish my dog was afraid to go outside in the rain.
Yeah, we're still working on teaching our daughter the weather right now, and that we can't always go outside. But she doesn't quite understand that, because all she ever wants to do right now is go outside, which is a good thing. But when it's storming and lightning and heavy rain, can't always do it. So we're learning. But anyway, so they issued the Storm Prediction Center did issue in this red shaded area, Matt, a new MD, noting the risk for supercell development in here over the next 1 to 2 hours. They are noting potential peak intensity of any storm that pops up across southern Illinois, including Paducah and Carbondale. 2-inch to 3.5-inch diameter hail, 55 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and the potential for a strong tornado.
Yeah, it's got to happen first, Brett.
I was going to say that is the same area that one was issued for before. I see on the satellite something trying to bubble up, but
it's been trying to bubble up for a while.
Just hasn't happened.
Yeah, it's been struggling. So. I mean, I do to the National Weather Service point. I agree. If something does bubble up, that environment there, you certainly would think would be very supportive of a tornado threat in that particular area. Just has to do it first.
I'm sure our team taking a look at that in a little bit of some closer detail. By the way, guys, here for those of you just now tuning in, was the Nowcast that John Kemper sent out about a half an hour ago. To access these Nowcasts for your specific location, be sure to scan that QR code in the top left. Hope will put a link there in the comments to sign up, and you can also use the code STORM20 at checkout to get a 20% off discount just for this event. These Nowcasts are really, really great for peace of mind and for just actionable intel in these types of situations, so you don't have to wonder whether the storms in Illinois are going to make it here or not, and if they are, whether they're going to be strong or not. It tells you right here.
Side note, Brett, to that, I was looking at that storm I kind of mentioned west of Terre Haute. Any rotation that I may have seen looks a little bit less impressive on the latest couple scans.
So Matt, real quick, it looks like that John says we are warning cells southeast of Vincennes, Indiana shortly. Not a lot of rotation on tilt 1, but you can see the meso forming above. So a little mesocyclone there.
Okay.
I don't see a ton of rotation on that yet. I see what he's saying, though. I see it. Yeah, I see it, Matt. Kind of south of Monroe City. Let me zoom in on the Clarity platform here. spot here. You can kind of see that look on it. It's not super strong at this point, but I do see a little bit of the inflow that they're talking about, trying to develop some rotation. Definitely some broad rotation on it, I would say, Matt.
Very broad.
That yeah, you can see there's the blinking red where our team has issued the warning. So what I'm talking about, for those of you all wondering, seeing a little bit on the velocity. I don't have the velocity pulled up, but seeing a little bit of some inflow over here. Trying to see winds wrap around here.
Yeah, you can see like a little notch there, Brett.
So definitely one to keep an eye on. This would eventually work its way towards Washington, Indiana. So if you are in Monroe City, Wheatland, just east of Decker and just west of Washington, Indiana, go ahead and take shelter. We are keeping an eye on this storm, capable of producing rotation that poses the risk to drop a tornado in here. So if you are in this area that we have in the red dashed region, we would recommend taking shelter. This is a BAM tornado warning, a BAM alert that our team has custom issued to folks on here because we are seeing radar indicated rotation. I know this storm down south is looking even more impressive, Matt.
The one south of St. Louis.
Yeah. Trying. Allison, Greenwood, we're looking at this next wave arriving at about 10:30 p.m. We put on the timing here. We can see maybe closer to 11 p.m. for Greenwood. Some strong wind gusts will be possible, heavy rain, lightning, but we do think that the highest tornado risk is to the west of this red line here. My daughter's flight is scheduled into Indy from Orlando at 11:50 p.m. What are the chances it gets delayed or diverted? That's going to be a close call. We were just looking earlier, and the exit timing looks like it may just be right before 11:50 p.m. So it'll be a close call. It's possible that they're able to land. I think the risk would be maybe delayed slightly just because of the lightning in the area. So that would be the concern. I do think any kind of severe weather's east at that point, but it wouldn't totally shock me if there's a little bit of a delay just from a lightning perspective. I don't think there's a cancellation though. Yep, you're welcome, Allison. Zionsville, kind of the same type of forecast here as Greenwood. An additional line of storm is going to be likely, but I do think that your biggest severe weather risk are west of the red line. Certainly a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in southern Missouri right now. We still have those couple of tornado warnings out there as well. It does look like, is that a new tornado warning?
Where at?
Near Clinton. So this is east of Clinton, a new tornado warning that includes Weldon, Monticello, and Mansfield, Illinois.
Take a look. Yeah, Brett, I see some rotation. Most notably north of Maroa, south of Clinton.
Yep, right in here.
I can see it heading towards DeLand. Man, I've said that a lot. DeLand in the last couple streams. I feel like I've been on streams a lot recently, and there's a few cities I have mentioned multiple times, and DeLand's one of those.
It always seems like there's one or two every year that gets hit multiple times.
And we're getting what, Brett? 48 miles per hour? Is that right?
Yeah, 48, 50 generally on these. I will do kind of an updated, bigger timing graphic.
Interesting here. Rodney Bennett said Sullivan, Indiana emergency management is open to anyone wanting to take shelter.
New tornado warning here just on the north side of the St. Louis metro area. That includes St. Charles, Hazelwood. You can see this is just north of downtown St. Louis. This goes out through, let me turn off that drawing here real quick. This goes out through the next hour. So this is a pretty long duration tornado warning here. So this goes out through 7:40 p.m. Central Time. Your rotation right now, you can see, would be here near St. Peter's. If we put on some timing here, let me double check. They've got it moving east at 35 miles per hour. If anybody on the team could double check the timing on the cell there in St. Louis, that would be super helpful. I know we were getting most of the line closer to 50 miles per hour. So I'm wondering if this is a little bit too slow on the NWS.
According to the team, it is, Brett.
Yeah. I feel like they've been a little on the slow side compared to reality tonight. All right. So this gives us an idea of the timing in terms of when this is going to arrive. So you're looking at Old Jamestown. That would be 7:03 p.m. Central Time. Blackjack, that is a interesting name for a town. 7:03 p.m. Central Time. Fluorescent at 7 p.m. Central Time. West Alton, 7:07 p.m. Central Time, and then crossing over the river here at about 7:15 p.m. Central Time or so. So new tornado warning that includes the kind of the northern portion of the Chicago metro, or excuse me, St. Louis metro area. You can see St. Louis just to the south in terms of the downtown area. They're getting split right now with tornado warnings, one on the south side, one on the north side of the St. Louis metro area.
I can't tell, Brett. Looks like NOAA may be issuing a BAM warning somewhere.
North Couplet, just northeast of Clinton, it looks like, in Illinois.
Okay.
Wapella.
Yeah, I see that. Kind of by Clinton, Wapella. So
Yeah.
just north of that tornado warning there by Clinton. Okay. You can make an argument for that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's I've seen crazier rotations being tornado warned.
So that'll be one we'll see blinking here in a second. That'll be moving towards Wapella and Farmer City.
Yep.
So still just getting some spin ups kind of along this line. Very classic QLCS type of look on this line right now. And when I say QLCS, that's basically when you get a line of storms and you get these little notches and these little wobbles, and they just create these quick spin ups. And, sometimes they can create quick but strong tornadoes. We saw this, I think it was the Carmel one or just west of Carmel a couple of years ago, where it was a QLCS storm that moved through kind of on the northwest side of Indy. And it produced I think it was an EF2 tornado, Matt, EF1 or EF2 tornado. So certainly nothing to ignore with these types of systems.
Great information from Phil Hedrick. He said the flooding at IU Bloomington was actually from a broken water pipe and not from heavy rain.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. That's Yeah, we'd gotten a lot of reports about that, so that is actually some super valuable information.
I'm sure the rain hasn't helped that situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Broken pipe plus a lot of rain.
Hey, Matt, there's you can see the dashed line here. NOAA put out that warning, and the NWS put it out literally 10 seconds later. We do have a new tornado warning northeast of the Louisville metro area as well. It's a fairly populated area here. LaGrange, just northeast of Crestwood, Eminence, and Newcastle. So this is in, I believe, just east of Jefferson County here in Kentucky, east of the Louisville metro area. So a new tornado warning has been issued. You can kind of see same type of deal, just a little notch in here, Matt.
Little notch. Yep.
And that's really all it's taking right now on especially kind of the outer edges of this system. It's all around Indy right now in terms of west better instability, south a little bit of a better setup. For us, we got all the heavy rain earlier, so at least for now, not quite as favorable of an environment as it is to our west and to our south.
Yeah, Brad, I'm looking at velocities. Seems awfully messy.
Yeah, I see, I think why, maybe, but it's very broad. That tornado is on the ground. Which tornado?
Yeah, Jake, I need a little bit more information there.
Farmer
City.
This one on CC.
It's on, he says Jake's claiming it's on CC.
But definitely that's the strongest couplet that I've seen tonight, I would say. Just north of DeWitt, right in here.
Shout out to Noah getting out ahead of that.
I do see the signature that would indicate that there was probably a tornado that dropped down. That would be right here, is where that would be right now.
John just said the BAM tornado warning we had in southwestern Indiana, we have de-issued that one.
Okay.
FYI.
I agree with that for what I was looking at, Matt. All right, so here's the timing of where the strongest rotation is with this storm. Looking at arrival in Farmer City at about 7:04 p.m. Central Time, crossing the I-74 corridor north of Farmer City at about 7:05. This, to me, is the most impressive little couplet that we've seen tonight, but just as quickly as I saw the little debris signature on the correlation coefficient, it's gone now, Matt. And I think that's just the type of situation that you deal with these types of risks. But the couplet to me and the rotation is still pretty strong. So if you are in this corridor, definitely need to be taking shelter. Potentially, this cell has had a history of dropping at least a quick tornado. Certainly has rotation on it. And so if you're in Farmer City, Bellflower, just north of Mansfield, Illinois, especially, you need to be taking shelter. In fact, Mansfield actually is under the tornado warning for the one south of there as well.
Brett, yeah, nature of the beast as far as these quick spin ups along the line. I'm watching closely. It's a little messy. But the cell north of the tornado warned cell, south of St. Louis, just an interesting look to it, kind of by Pacific.
Probably a decent little hail core.
Yeah.
1.75 inch diameter hail. That needs to be expanded into downtown St. Louis. I don't know why that warning has not been expanded into downtown St. Louis.
Yeah, I would agree. They at least need a severe thunderstorm warning. It's worth watching that one, in my opinion, if it could pick up some sneaky rotation. Personally, Brett, real quick, I don't know if we did or not. That cell in southwestern Indiana, or now that is northern Kentucky, not southwestern Indiana, by Pleasureville, LaGrange.
Oh yeah, LaGrange. Okay.
Did we time that one out, Brett?
No, I don't think that we did.
Get a quick timer on that one.
40 miles an hour east on this. Southwest Indiana, 38. Let's do linear. Ooh, not 120. We don't want that. We'd have other issues. We have a whole lot of other issues if that was the case. All right, so here's the timing on the tornado-warned storm in northern Kentucky. This is just east of the downtown Louisville metro area. It's right over LaGrange right now. Again, that's a fairly populated suburb of Louisville, and expecting these storms to arrive in imminence at about 7:59 p.m. Eastern, 7:58 in Newcastle. Further off to the east, the south side of this, not in the tornado warning, but Shelbyville at 8:06 p.m., Frankfurt at 8:38. And then further off to the east, as this line continues to move eastward, we're looking at Williamstown at about 8:44, and then right along Interstate 75 at about 8:52. NOAA saying nearly 70 mile per hour straight line winds just west of Louisville in that cell, just west of Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, we're scanning up there a little bit, Brett, but I do see some of the velocities are quite strong.
Let's see. Yeah,
So it could have some 60+ mile per hour wind gusts in that.
So this one needs to be watched. It's actually only warned for 50 mile per hour winds, but I do see what he's saying near Palmyra. So this is approaching northwestern portions of Floyd County and western Clark County. So if you're in Palmyra, Greenville, Borden, New Pekin, need to be keeping an eye on at least some elevated wind gusts here. Maybe 60 mile per hour wind gusts with this as it moves through. About 1,600 feet above the radar. New severe thunderstorm warning in Washington, Indiana, along Interstate 69. That is for 1-inch diameter hail and 60 mile per hour wind gusts.
Brett, you know, the storm south of St. Louis, as far as rotation is concerned, now looks more messy. I thought that one may be able to hang on a little bit longer, personally.
I think it's starting to get too. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Floyd County and parts of Clark County. 60 mile per hour winds. Nice catch, Noah.
Yep. Great job, Noah. Noah's killing it right now.
Yep. Georgetown, Greenville, New Albany. This is right along the river between New Albany and Louisville, Kentucky for 60 mile per hour wind gusts.
Brett, real quick, it may be good for folks to show that graphic. I've seen a lot of questions come in. I see Lafayette a couple times, Greenwood, Attica, you name it.
Yeah, so guys, this is a Nowcast that John sent out about 50 minutes ago on the Clarity platform to really everyone across the area. So if you're on Clarity, this is in your Now tab, and you got a push alert for it as well. Timing out the arrival of the second round of stronger storms does look like, Matt, real quick, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is here just north of Terre Haute. This one in Clinton, Indiana, Rockville, and for Russellville and Roachdale, and that is for 60 mile per hour wind gusts and 1.25-inch diameter hail. So new severe thunderstorm warning that is west of Indy for 1.25-inch diameter hail and 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Again, this was the graphic. I'll zoom in here. Hope was asking me to zoom in so it's a little bit easier to see on the phone. I'll break this down though. If you are west of the red line, that is where your highest severe weather potential is going to be. Now, as we just showed, there is a severe thunderstorm warning kind of between Lafayette, south of Lafayette, and west of Indy. And so it doesn't mean there's no severe weather threat east of the red line, but the tornado risk is very low end east of the red line. And the higher risk will be some scattered wind gusts of 60 plus miles per hour and perhaps some large hail. And then the black dashed lines time out the arrival of these storms. And so, Mike, if you were in the area where this was issued for, this would be on your Now tab. So if you go into the Clarity platform and you click on your location, the very first tab should be called Now. I'll go over to Clarity and show you what this looks like. You can see it right here. And then you see this blue Nowcast active button, and that is where this is.
It depends to where he's at, too.
Correct. Yeah, if you're not in this specific area, then you may have a different Nowcast.
Yeah. So
it's all location specific, and so it does vary from location to location. All right, so severe thunderstorm warning again right now in Rockville, just east of Clinton, Indiana. That'll be pushing just south of Crawfordsville towards Russellville and Rosedale here over the next hour or so. Large hail, some strong wind gusts will be the main risk. Right now, Matt, I know some folks are asking whether we should be concerned about this cell here in Rockville. I don't see, Matt, anything overly concerning from a rotation standpoint right now.
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye on it. Right now, nothing of concern. Just something we'll have to keep an eye on for. I agree. From a rotation perspective, nothing overly concerning at the moment. But it is by itself, right? It is a discrete storm. So I don't want to completely take my eyes off of it. But right now seems to be tame from a rotation perspective.
We do have a new pretty widespread severe thunderstorm warning out here in east central Illinois. This is for 70 mile per hour damaging wind gusts, Urbana and Tuscola, Arthur. And we do have these red circled areas where we have tornado warnings also still in effect here. That includes areas like DeLand, Mansfield, and Monticello, in addition to Farmer City and Bellflower over the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, Brett, I mean, gosh, this is just east of the Lincoln radar, Brett, west of Champaign. By DeLand, I see some pretty strong wind velocity showing up.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if there's some 70 plus mile per hour gusts in here.
Yep. I'm trying to figure out where the team 100 mile per hour outbound on the south side circulation straight east of ILX radar. Okay. So I think what Noah is basically saying, he's going to extend the tornado warning out from the current tornado warning from the National Weather Service, I believe is the gist I'm getting from him.
Yes, yes. All right. Delete this other storm track here. Why is the tornado threat lower east of that line? All of the rain and storms that have been lingering around here over the past 5 hours or so, just not enough instability. I certainly think we need to keep an eye on this line from a wind standpoint. A little bit more of a gap here, Matt, I would say, kind of between the two waves, which may be helpful from a severe weather standpoint. But that's the main reasoning, Tyler.
Brett, I will say I'm looking at meso-analysis right now, and out ahead of that line in central Illinois, the winds are almost due east. I mean, the inflow into the storms is pretty nice, actually. Instability, on the other hand, really isn't. Oh, wow. Hope just sent a picture of Cortland, Indiana. Brett, I'm not sure where Cortland, Indiana is. You may know where that's at.
I'm not sure.
But it's a downed telephone pole, it looks like.
Indiana. That is near Seymour.
Okay.
Power out.
All right. NOAA is putting out a warning by Mahomet, north of Champaign. That may have been the one he's been talking about.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay. I think that's probably a pretty good call on his part. And Brett, there is a new tornado warning north of that one as well. I don't know if we talked about maybe that's the one that was by Farmer City. Never mind. That's the one we've mentioned. But certainly I see the rotation now between DeLand and Mahomet. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sure I'm butchering it. So we're going to extend that warning. I think that's a good call from NOAA. Saying 30 power lines broken. Brett.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was maybe like a microburst there in Seymour.
Could have been. Okay. You're okay. Good call. Thanks, man. I always can count on you to figure out if I'm butchering Illinois towns wrong or not.
Well, look, I'm never one to ever talk about pronunciation of city names. All right, so just kind of to overview here, guys, we've got two separate areas of strong to severe storms. We've got several severe storms here in southern Indiana, primarily for 60-mile-per-hour winds and large hail. There's the new tornado warning. NOAA, you beat him again.
Yeah, NOAA's doing a fantastic job right now.
Alexa's just sent in an 80-mile-per-hour damaging wind gust north of Decatur, it looks like.
Okay, so we saw those velocities, Brett. I'm not shocked. I think you need to especially watch if you're towards Champaign right now, given we do have the 80-mile-per-hour winds. That looks like we're observed to the west, and what I'm seeing on velocity, if you're in Champaign, I think some 70-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts are going to be possible shortly.
Let's time this out real quick, Matt. All right, so here would be timing. That would speed it up. The latest had it at 55, Matt, on that warning at least. NOAA says 50, 55 too, so I've got it on the faster side. And if we make it 52.5 or 52, takes it to 10:15. Certainly, Matt, a little bit more interesting the way it's bowing here from a wind perspective for central Indiana.
I agree. Brett, and I kind of mentioned to you before, prior to us hopping on the stream, of where the instability gradient is, at least elevated instability, right over kind of central Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm wondering, Matt, if it's going to have the tendency
maybe kind of shift southeast with time.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if especially along and south of this blue dashed line ends up being the like it has the tendency to dive that way.
I'm already kind of seeing that, Brett, by Champagne.
Which, is interesting, Matt, because that is exactly what the morning one did. The exact same spot. This one looks more impressive to me. It is with the actual front. So that will help.
For sure.
So I would tentatively say, tornado risk still maybe more up in the air, but I think from a wind risk maybe increasing for central Indiana right now.
Like I said, I when we started this stream in particular, Brett, my gut just says there'll be some severe warnings across central Indiana this evening.
Certainly trying to shape up that way here, Matt. So, all right. Team looks like they are working on a new Nowcast here. Once they have that, Matt, I will probably turn the reins over to you. I know that eventually Michael had mentioned potentially hopping on here shortly as well.
Right.
So we'll do a little switcheroo.
Yep. I'll probably be on for a little bit until Michael and or John hop on, just to continue to ride the ship with us.
So let's see here. Okay, so guys, on the screen right now, just to recap, we have timing of this main wave of storms. So updated timing for the main wave of storms. So if we zoom in here, you can see all of the different times that we expect that these storms are going to arrive across the area. Terre Haute 9:30, Brazil 9:40, Plainfield 10:06, Greenwood 10:30. Noblesville, Fisher is about 10:15, and then out further to the east, Rushville 11:10, Greensburg 11:30. Right now, looking like this could be a decently strong line of storms as it moves through. The risk for a strong to severe wind gusts as it pushes southeast.
Lindsay Fish for Champagne. Looks like you are in a tornado warning. In fact, if someone on my team's watching, we may need another tornado warning south of that tornado warning by Champagne. I do see an area, looks like some rotation heading your way. I would seek shelter immediately, even outside of a tornado risk. I'm concerned in Champagne, based off what I'm seeing, that you could see some wind gusts that can exceed 70 miles per hour. So I would certainly go ahead and seek shelter.
So real quickly, Matt, there is a new MD that has been issued, an 80% chance of a watch. This looks to be a severe thunderstorm watch that would be issued in this orange shaded area across central and southern Indiana.
Perfect.
They do mention in there, and I agree that there's still uncertainty in terms of the tornado aspect of this. Definitely a wind risk, though, Matt.
Looks like primarily, Brett, would you agree they'll probably issue a severe thunderstorm watch?
Looks like a severe thunderstorm watch, yeah. So likely a severe thunderstorm watch to be issued for Indianapolis, Bloomington to Louisville, perhaps just south of Kokomo.
Perfect. Well, Brett, how about you hop off of here, and I will take over for a little bit.
If you want to take over, I was just noticing real quick, just west of Urbana, some of the Boeing in that looking like it could be 70 plus mile per hour winds for sure.
Yeah, that's I was. Somebody was asking about Urbana, and I'm concerned about that, Brett, and a little bit of rotation as well. That's even actually just south of the tornado warning for Champaign.
Yeah, for sure.
I see some towards Mahomet as well. So,
All right. Let's see. How do I get this 2x2? Well, Matt, I'm gonna let you take over the share screen here.
okay.
All right, Matt, and everyone, appreciate it. Everybody stay safe this evening. Thank you all so much for hopping on. Matt, and then I think eventually John and Michael will take us home for the evening hours today as this line approaches Indiana. So please stay safe this evening. Appreciate all your support, and we will chat again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, let's take a look at what we're dealing with. Give me just a moment as I chat with the team. As far as immediate concerns right now, watching closely these storms by Champaign, Urbana. There is a tornado warning in effect, and I do see some rotation there towards Champaign. I'm also concerned about, in those areas in particular, for some very strong wind gusts that can exceed 70 miles per hour. So watching that closely towards Champaign. South and west of this particular storm, obviously we've got storms littered all up and down this line. Further off to the west, I don't see any tornado warnings until we get to just south of the St. Louis metro. I do want to look at this cell north of Edwardsville as well, because it's got that notch in particular that we're looking at. Okay, will be worth keeping a close eye on that. I believe the team's getting about 55 miles per hour of this, so I can make a new timing graphic. A lot of you have been asking questions about further to the east in Indy, so I will get into that timing here in just a moment. Let me confirm the speed with my team. And I do think there can still continue to be severe weather as it moves into Indiana. I expect there to be some severe thunderstorm warnings. A little bit more uncertain about the tornado risk. I think the further east you get, the tornado risk is just simply going to be harder to come by. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong about that. But certainly some wind gust will be a concern with these storms, I think at the very least. Let me chat with the team real quick. Then I think maybe John and Michael will be hopping on and taking over. So let me confirm with the team. We'll go ahead and we're going to assume 55 until I hear otherwise. And let's get a big timer out for this. And again, I'm using Clarity right now. You can scan that QR code in the top left-hand corner. We do have a 20% off right now of our Clarity package. Use code STORM20 on checkout. You get that discount. We're just going to extend this. We're assuming about a 55 mile per hour speed. And here's some general time frames for you in Eastern of the approach of these storms. I certainly think the wind gust threat is very much alive. I personally think the tornado threat starts to struggle more with easterly extent. And let me kind of show you quickly what I'm looking at from my vantage point. Is one thing that is missing in terms of getting into central Indiana is going to be that of the instability. And you can see there's actually a good chunk of it still in southwestern Indiana, and then south, kind of in the central section of where these storms are at in Illinois. Essentially what we're looking at is something called CAPE. It's a fancy word for storm fuel, right? The higher the numbers, the higher the instability. You can see it's 3,500 in southeastern Missouri, and then it drops below 500 into central Indiana. So that, in my opinion, is going to be the limiting factor as far as a tornadic risk is concerned. What we do have, however, is elevated instability. So the instability is not necessarily at the ground, but it's up in the atmosphere, up kind of, above the surface, so to speak. And there still is a sizable amount of that in Indiana. And typically we want to look at where the gradients are of that. And I think that within itself, considering what we already see on the radar, is suggestive of some strong wind gust as it does move to the east. I think especially into the short term where that instability, where we do have it, I still think there is a threat for tornadoes all up and down this line, especially getting into Illinois. I just think that risk decreases as it moves into Indiana. Of course, we'll be watching it closely as it starts to roll through here. Michael is going to be coming on in 5 minutes. So let me real quick see if I can shoot him the link to join. Here's what we're going to do. Let me see if I can get the link for him real quick. Guys, give me just a moment. I'm going to pass this over to Michael and John. So I'm having issues since Brett left and he started the stream. Do you know how I can get the link? It's usually down here.
Exit out of the chat real quick.
Okay.
Hit sources.
Here's what we'll do. We're just going to start a new stream.
Yeah, I think it's probably good. Yep.
All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hop off the stream real quickly. I'm going to end the stream and we'll get it started right back up once again. And John and Michael will be leading up the stream as it does move into central Indiana. So hang on real tight. We'll be right back. And we'll be watching this as it moves into Indiana. So bear with us just a moment as we pass the baton off once again to Michael and John. So we'll be chatting with everybody soon. Just hang in there real tight.